as a guy that consumed the game 24/7, I never missed a game from the day I came to the States, 1990, till 98. I watched everything. I was a Lakers guy, so I'm talking Nick Van Exel, Sedale Treat, if you know these names, Eldon Campbell. When you watch the viewership of NBA Finals, you guys, what you did, what Michael did, Chicago Bulls, I don't know what the number is, Rob. If you type in NBA Finals viewership, 38 million, 36 million, 32 million, and then you see the stats today, and the stats come out saying the NBA viewership is down 48% the last 12 years. I no longer watch the NBA, okay? To me, they've lost me as a fan. You, as somebody who was face known worldwide, what happened to the NBA the last 10, 20 years?
Well, I feel like that the game changed. It became more of a perimeter shooter game, if I could say that. And I think and I remember right when I was leaving the game, early 2000, that the league promoted more scoring. They wanted to get more points up on the board. They felt like that would get the fans more engaged.
Tail end of your career.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
So it at that point, to me, it started looking more like a game built for offensive players, guys that did play defense and, took pride in playing defense, were to some degree punished, I felt like, because everything was working in favor of the offensive player.
That was Scottie Pippen on Patrick Bet-David's podcast recently. They both talked about how the NBA is a failing product and unwatchable. For me, it hits home. I don't really get into the debates much. Michael Jordan is the GOAT, hands down. But in terms of the rules of play, the integrity of that sport has fallen way down, by the wayside. I don't think the NBA will change because they have a monopoly on that sport. For example, let's take a look at Ray Kroc's vision for McDonald's. How many food joints do you see in America? Very competitive. Off the top, you got Wendy's, Burger King, Whataburger, Taco Bell, Hardee's, KFC, Popeyes, my personal favorite, Church's, and the list goes on. VIP fried chicken. My point is, what is the NBA's rival? There isn't any. Until that happens, the NBA will not change. Unless the ratings begin to tank overseas, in China and Europe. That's the only way I can see it changing without any rival. Is there opportunity for a new league or concept to rise? Bringing back the golden era of basketball? Absolutely. We got some emails. Dear Ifan, we'd like to get preemptive pardons for what we know. Signed, Joe Biden and the anonymous Tim and PA. Here we go. Just so you know, these emails aren't vetted. They are very sarcastic with a message. So when I read them, I'm learning about it at the same time as you are. Here's another one. Dear Ifan, you can't get too close to the NBA players today. It's a flagrant foul, ejection, and load management, missing half the season, all in one hat trick. Sincerely, Irvin Magic Johnson and Wayne Gretzky. Larry and Mike in Barcelona. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. It's true. It's true. Let's pause for station identification.
HNSN, the fan.
Welcome back. We are going to get right into it. Please welcome our guest for this episode. He has a lot of accomplishments, so we will get right to the point. Please welcome the head coach of Black Hawk College, the home of the Braves, and former UTSA, that's University of Texas at San Antonio, and former professional basketball player, back-to-back MVP and champion in the now defunct Singapore Basketball League. The cannons are off. Go Braves! Coach Kannon Burrage, welcome to the show. How you doing, brother?
Thank you, man. I'm doing really good. I'm doing really good. That is one heck of an introduction. I appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, brother. Just started my day on the Good Morning Singapore show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Hey, real quick, I want to ask you before we talk about your second half of the season with the Braves, please share with our listeners about how you got started in basketball and how you got your offer in Singapore later on.
Yeah. So my journey in basketball, man, really all starts just being young, coming from a basketball family. Um, you know, third grades when I really first got into organized basketball. And throughout my journey, just as you mentioned, I played junior college basketball for 2 years, graduated, played at University of Texas, San Antonio, had really good success there. And then that led to playing in Singapore.
Awesome, coach. Before we move forward, can you please elaborate on your roofing business a little bit?
Yeah, so just as the ball stopped somewhere. For me, I was blessed to play in Singapore for a couple years, and again had great success there. But as soon as that was over, we had to kind of pivot into something. I've always had the entrepreneurial mindset, and so I have my brothers, and it was my big brother actually. He started it and founded it from ground up. And by the time I was done playing basketball, it just made enough sense for me to jump right on board with him. And we've been doing this since 2021. It works out for me because I get to pursue both my passions. I'm very community oriented, and we're doing more than just putting roofs on homes. We're really building relationships with the community here. And I get to fulfill my passion, my basketball passion, by being the coach of the local community college. So it's a really, really unique opportunity for me, and I'm just living the dream with it. So
it's good to see you diversify your plan, and it worked out very well for you. Very impressive.
Yeah. Again, man, the ball stopped somewhere. I was blessed to have this education, and again, blessed to have an entrepreneurial spirit and come from a family who is very entrepreneurial as well. I tell people all the time in the real world, in the world I'm in now, a lot of my success throughout the roofing company has came because I set myself up for success in basketball. We have a good reputation around here. When you hear the name, the past few years, you think of roofing, but growing up, you always thought basketball, and that meant, outstanding achievement of basketball, excellence in basketball. And we've just kind of taken that philosophy and applied it into this realm. And that's how we've achieved success with it as well.
Such an interesting journey. And if you're just joining us now, we got Coach Kannon Burrage on the show. We talked about how he got started in basketball, his family roofing business. Now, I want to shift towards Black Hawk College. At the moment, in your conference, I see you guys are sitting just below 500. I also took a look at your history for men's basketball. Your program currently has 4 Arrowhead Conference titles in 74, 77, 91, and 98. And you got 1 regional title in 05 within the NJCAA. I know it's a tall order of what I'm about to ask you. What is it going to take to bring a D2 championship to Black Hawk College?
Yeah, it's going to take a bunch of everyday guys that, simply put, bring it every day. The success and experience that I've had, I've been blessed to win a national championship. As an assistant coach, I've been blessed to win a championship overseas in Singapore. So I know a thing about being on championship teams. And the number one thing on those championship teams is we had what I call everyday guys who show up every day ready to put their best foot forward. And that's the culture that I'm trying to build right now at Black Hawk College. To give you a little more context in the history, when I first came was a year after COVID, and they did not have a basketball season at all that year. So it's pretty much ground zero 4 years ago. So even the conference championships in '74, we don't, we of course acknowledge our history, but when I got here, it's ground zero. And I say that from a place of pride because now we're just under 500. And, just long story short, just to put in some context, just my previous school, as I mentioned, we did win the national championship. And then, coming home, it's just a rebuilding project, but we are definitely headed in the right direction.
Awesome. Again, we got head coach Kannon Burrage from Black Hawk College on the show. Let's pause for station identification.
HNSN, the fan.
Coach, please share some of your biggest moments at BHC and your career. Take us back to what it's like being back-to-back MVP and a champion in Singapore.
Yeah, I mean, some of the highlights of my career, as you mentioned, I look at them as being announced as head coach here at Black Hawk College. Just was always a goal of mine to be a head college basketball coach, and to be able to do it at my, my hometown has always been a blessing to me. Another extreme high of my successes was being the two-time MVP in Singapore. I loved my time in Singapore. I love the people of Singapore, and I think that's what stands out mostly there for me. The MVPs was just the cherry on top. But, again, I look at Singapore as a second home, and, the love that I received there, the affection that I have for, the country, it was truly a great time for me. And just, that was a time for me that I learned a lot about myself, and, and a huge just part of my journey. So really, really fortunate to experience successes like that.
Coach, once again, it's really impressive to hear that and showing all that love to Singapore. But I have an on-the-court hoop dialect question for you. How many bodies did you catch back in the day?
Oh man, gee. Oh, I'm gonna put it at least 20 plus, man, and that's taking the humble route as well. But that was I loved entertaining the crowd, especially when I was in Singapore. I knew what they wanted to see, and again, I took pride in entertaining the crowd. So they love to see dunks, and there was often times that people would challenge, and it wouldn't go well for them. So. I would put it at 20 plus, but who knows?
20 plus is a great stat for the stat sheets, I have to say.
Yeah. It's been fun. It's been fun. It all comes from athleticism. I work extremely hard, especially in those Singapore days. Just extremely hard in the weight room, extremely hard on my diet, and that's kind of what propelled me to be able to do that in Singapore.
Awesome. Hey, Coach, I have one more final question before we run out of time here. On our station, we promote a lot of inspirational content aside from everything else we do, and we always like to put out positive messages to people who want to be successful in life, whether it's sports or life in general. As an entrepreneur myself, and a fan of you, my guy, I really like what you're doing, and we are going to continue to support your endeavors. And I want to be specific in this one. Please define to our fans, quote, by any means necessary to become successful when you are surrounded by negativity from so-called friends and family members who tell you you're just not good enough. What is your recipe to counter all of that?
My recipe to counter all of that, man, is it comes from within. You have to tell yourself that you are blessed, you are somebody, you're a game changer, and you are the difference. And until you see yourself this way, you limit all your abilities. So my recipe of that is just look closer in the mirror, because it's in me, it's in you. We just have to identify it, embrace it, and walk in it. But we're all blessed. We're all somebody, and we all have goals and dreams to achieve.
Well said, Coach. And we totally agree here at HNSN, Feel the Beat Radio 2452. Coach Kannon, thank you for coming on. We truly appreciate your time and your effort. Good luck with the rest of the season, and we will definitely be in touch soon.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It was great catching up with you.
Solid guy. Great interview. That was Coach Kannon Burrage of Black Hawk College, who are now sitting just below 500. After starting ground zero after COVID, brand new like Nubian, is now entering the final stretch. And I say this as a fan, I hope they can make some noise in the postseason. I'm not sure if they will qualify or not, but if they do, it's a whole new season, BHC. You can pull an Ohio State type run if you put in the work. Follow through on Coach Burrage's messages. We hope so. We believe in you. Go Braves. Anyway, we will be back in a sec. Keep it locked.